Hey there, everyone, and welcome to the Mom's Village Show. My name is Janet Bogo, and it's so good, as always, to have you with us.
And I'm excited to be here today, Janet. I'm Isis Nyangweso, founder of Mom's Village. And Janet, how are you?
I'm sleep deprived.
You don't look
at my eyes. Look closer. My son just felt like hanging out. He was just like, playground. That's how he says playground. 3 a.m. Playground.
That's so funny because just like 2 nights ago, my son, who's like a little bit older, but something in the middle of the night, and I was like, what happened? My husband got up. He's like, he went into the living room, like calling for me, wanting to do lessons. And my husband does lessons with the kids in the middle of the night, but he was like half asleep. So.
Oh no.
And then he slept. I was like, no, yeah.
It's so funny how I'm really trying not to look at this amazing ice cream and cake in front of me. Oh my goodness. Should I just go ahead and serve us some? So yeah, so I'm a little sleep deprived, but I will be fine. This is some delicious ice cream from Delia's.
This is Delia's, which, you know what's amazing? I'm going to serve myself some chocolate just now. It's actually non-dairy.
What?
Yes, it doesn't look it, so I can't wait to taste it. But one thing I was thinking about was just how I just feel so behind in life, like in general. WhatsApp messages, email, like you name it. I'm just missing stuff. There's just too much going on.
Do you think there's something you can do to address? Look at me sounding at the counselor. Is there something you can do to address it, Isis? What do you have a plan?
Earlier, I keep trying to, it's just, I'm trying to say there's enough time for everything. That is something to have like that positive, like change my frame of mind, and hopefully that means that.
No, I feel you. Because not only do I sometimes feel behind. In fact, sometimes I wake up to like 35 notifications on my phone. I'm like, I'll get to those next year. But what's more frustrating for me right now is finding time, not only to get back to messages and all, but just finding time to try and do everything. So even spending time as a family. And I know we had this conversation with my husband. So the other day, which was really good, we both said, okay, let's do this at 4 p.m. Because my husband's very busy. I get busy, but I'm more flexible. At 4 p.m., let's be intentional about spending time with Huru, our son. And so it worked the other day. That was our first time. So he left for work very early that morning. And then, so he was able to meet us at a restaurant, and we were able to spend an hour with him. And it felt good, but we were like, can we keep this up?
Like every day? Or
we're trying to do it every day. So we've done one day, yay! So it's just like, how consistent can we be? Because it was very fulfilling. But I hear you, Isis. It's just, how do you find time to do everything?
Yeah, I don't know. In fact, one of the moms in our neighborhood WhatsApp groups that we do at Mom's Village, I was asking just this question, like, can we talk about like how do two working parents really start, really want to be involved in parenting? How do you manage the time? And so that's kind of an interesting.
So that's what we're trying to figure out. And I think, I don't want to say it's possible. I think it is. It's that intentionality and trying to find ways for it to be flexible. So we're trying the waters. We're trying to see if it's going to be possible. And if not every day, at least maybe 3 times in the week, excluding Sundays, because Sundays is a no-brainer. I'm super psyched about what we're talking about today, because it's so, first of all, I'm looking at the cake and thinking, today, by the way, we're talking about body image. We have 2 amazing guests who will be joining us, and just how to feel good post-baby, post-pregnancy, and even though you look and feel a certain way, how to validate yourself and say, that's okay, especially if I'm trying to do right by my body, if I'm trying to live healthy, I'm okay, because there's all these universal standards put on us, so...
But what this show is not about is like fitness, and not that we're anti-fitness. I also enjoy fitness, but it's really just an appreciation of the changes that young mothers go through, and how much change there is, and how your body changes so much, and how to navigate that without this pressure of like it equals fitness or equals like kind of being a super fit person, because I think there's a time for everything in life, and that might not necessarily be this time.
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure on women who are in the public eye to have a certain physique, to have a certain shape. I remember how much body shaming I got when I was pregnant, when I was on air.
Funny enough, did I tell you yesterday at the salon? Okay, I wasn't stalking you, I was at the salon, and you know how they had the really, really old magazines, like stacked up?
Yeah.
And on the top, really tattered, was your picture
when you were
pregnant. Yeah.
First of all, I was the first, apparently, I was the first pregnant woman to be on the cover of True Love. And I just remember how much I was very proud of it, but the body shaming that came with it. I was able to rise above it, but it was still a little bit, it was still a little much. So it'll be interesting to see how they've been able to navigate it, and maybe how we can talk to women about being okay with that phase in your life and how your body looks and feels, and not caving into the pressure.
Just before we do that, one of our fun segments that we are, doing almost every show is our life hack. So take a look.
Okay.
Here's a fact about crayons that will come in handy next time the lights go out. Light the crayon and burn it from its top. We found that cutting off the crayon's tip made it much more efficient. As it burns, the crayon will provide enough light to help you find your way and keep the children peaceful. A single crayon can burn for up to 30 minutes. We came across this fun, simple way for you and your kids to make homemade paint. Mix 1/4 cup of wheat flour with 1/4 cup of table salt. Add 1/2 cup of water. Mix these, then add a pinch of your food color of choice. Keep stirring until the mixture is smooth. And there you have it. As a busy mom, keeping track of the baby's medicine doses can sometimes be tricky. To ensure you do this effectively and don't skip a day, mark the medicine bottle with a permanent marker or a white-out pen.
The medicine one, how did I never think of that?
I know, I've messed it up a few times.
And I just gave my son, I've given him the proper dosage.
But one little safety tip about the crayon one, it's really cool. We always have old crayons hanging around, but let's just make sure that the matches are far away from kids so that they don't do that one. So we're so excited to have Habida and Lynda join us today for our body image discussion.
I know. Woo! Very well-known faces in Kenya. Habida is
Voices and faces.
Voices and faces. Musician, actress, radio personality. It's so good to have you guys with us. We know that you've both been in the scene for a long time, but what are you both up to? New things, something interesting you're doing? Maybe Habida, you could fill us in?
So I've got a lot of stuff going on, but I'll start with, I'm rebranding, right? And with the rebranding, I decided I want people to know who I am. And, baby number 2 and all of this stuff. So I was like, guess what? I need to have a reason for being a musician and actress, and my voice has a purpose. You kind of go through life not, doing stuff without purpose, and it's boring. Well, for me anyway. So I figured I want to speak to women and to men and discuss how we are superwomen. We're mothers. That's why I introduced myself like that. I'm a mother. I'm a businesswoman. I'm a musician. I'm an actress. I'm a wife. I mean, all those things have a million things with them. So I'm doing a reality show. Wow. Which everyone's like, a reality show? Like I had this one guy watch it and he was like, you just put yourself out there.
Yeah, but for you it's purpose driven.
And the idea is to teach women that we need to tell our stories. None of us talk about, we're all like, how are you? Fine, I'm good. Yeah. And then you go home and you're like, oh my God, these kids. And then you think you're the only one going through what you're going through.
Balancing all those roles in today's time is what's intense. So it's great. We can't wait to see that. Yes. We're looking forward to that. And what about you, Lynda?
Well, I don't have a very smart answer like you do. I mean, you give me a lot of pressure. But I was reading this study that said that now, especially, 1 in every 3 young moms feels the need to be perfect. And that gave me a lot of anxiety because I feel like that's constantly what I'm dealing with, and I'm not doing a very good job at it. So I decided, you know what, why not put it on camera? So that's what I'm doing. I started a web series called Highly Unqualified with me, Lynda Nyangweso. And it's basically just me trying to figure out life. Am I an adult yet? When I feel like there's things you do and you're like,
are you adulting?
I don't know.
But adulting is when you are...
When you feel like you're there. I don't know how to explain it. Like you feel like I woke up today and I'm such an adult. I've never felt that way. I used to be a very meticulous planner about my life. Like I'd be the 5-year goal person. Yes. And then I'd wake up and I'm like, if I start doing this, if I start paying my own rent, I'm an adult.
It's a key part of it.
We actually have a clip from Lynda's web series, so let's take a look.
Okay, we're gonna go into my body.
because I feel like that's the first thing people are going to comment on as soon as they see this video. That's the first thing people see when I walk into a room, and that's the first judgment people make of me. My body is a miracle. I will tell you that up front. My body has carried me 29 years. My body has carried my child for 9 months, healthy completely, got out of it alive. My body has loved me and been there with me even when nobody else was. Hashtag stay with it.
Love how
Relatable.
like real and related. Yes, yes.
Very relatable.
Every time I do one of those, I'm worried my mom has seen it, and then I have to call and apologize.
She'll hear from a relative, have you seen what your daughter is doing? So both of you, I love that you're sort of like uplifting and empowering and encouraging moms in what you're doing. That's so important. I think we kind of have a role to do that. As people who have a platform, I think it's important to say, we're not perfect. We don't have our lives figured out. We're trying to figure it out as well. And in fact, going right into that is being in the media and being personalities and how you've dealt with body image, you know, what Habida's immediately like, as she takes her ice cream, she's like, girl, let me tell you, eats ice cream.
That is a new hashtag. That is a new hashtag from this show.
No, eats ice cream. So the body shaming, and I mentioned it earlier to Isis when I was pregnant. For some reason, it was like alien to see a pregnant news anchor. You saw that, and being told you're too pregnant.
Oh my God,
you look so weird.
I loved it. You were glowing. I was just like, I want to get to know her. She's my person.
You know, my aunt saw one, I can't remember which artist it was, and they were pregnant, and she was like, when I mimba, toa uyo. I was like,
You see?
What? And this is my aunt who, you know, in my head, I'm like, we're all cool in this family. I'm like, no, you didn't.
So have you ever dealt with any body shaming as someone who's in the limelight?
After my daughter, I was big, and you know, I went from
created life.
But this is
were
the thing,
glowing.
nobody
You were
was
both
there. It
shining
was just
with
me
happiness.
and whoever was there, you know. So I guess it was like, oh my God, did you see? Then it was like boobs, because, you know, I'm well endowed. And they got a little bit bigger. So it was like the comments on my video were milk, and it was get down, I don't know. Milk, look at that, milk. Wow. And you know what? I left it. Because usually you get upset and you're like, delete. And I was like, no, let's you know, if that's the way you want to respond to the fact that I'm a woman and this is what I've done, and the fact that I didn't lock myself away, I actually created, you know, I went back to work, I was like, nah, you can have it, it's fine.
Just ignored it, or what? Or
I ignored it. I actually did, and I was just like, whatever.
They'll get over it. Yeah. Was it the same for you? Like,
I think for me it was a different story. I've always had a love-hate relationship with my body, especially being a bigger girl, and then I put myself out there. So everyone felt the need to comment. Like, I didn't already know. It was my big secret. I'm fat. And then one day people realized it, and it was a thing. It wasn't a very well-kept secret, right? So I went through one of those... I did get a lot of shaming, and then I got a lot of comments. I put up a picture. I remember I went to an event, and I was with at a Google event where I first met you.
oh yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah, and I put up this picture of me, and at that time, I think I was like 7 or 8 months pregnant. And one of the things you you struggle with as a fat girl is, do I look pregnant now, or am I just fat, right? So you keep like looking at the difference and taking all the pictures, and I looked pregnant. And I remember when I went through a phase where guys were really body shaming me, and I trended on Twitter, first time to ever trend, because I was
like
a fat
on Twitter?
girl. Yes.
That's good, though.
And one of the comments that really hit me, at that time I must have been like 22, and one of the comments was like, if she looks this bad now, imagine when she's 8 months pregnant.
wow.
And then I put up this picture where I was 8 months pregnant, and I loved it. You know, I expected to be like, oh, I'll just hide it. I don't want people to look at me. So I wasn't even putting up a lot of pictures. If you see like my social media, there's just a gap where I kind of just disappear or just take selfies.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, I loved what my body was doing. And I've learned to love even the imperfections of my body. So I think pregnancy was my body love story began.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
But I think what's important for women to understand is that, you know how you're saying you had issues? I'm probably maybe half your size, and I had the same issues.
It's across
so
the
it's
board,
not,
right?
it's not, the idea is not to keep your story locked up.
Yeah.
Because like, if you saw me going like, hey, I'm fat and whatever, you'd be like, okay, this chick is nuts. Yeah, you know, but we have the exact same story.
But you see, we don't talk about it, and that's why I love a forum like this. If we talk about it, you feel like I'm not alone.
And it's important that people know that they're not alone. And I don't know whether it then affected any of you in terms of your relationships or whether any of the change that you were going through and your body, because our bodies change when we have these children. After baby, did you still feel like, you know, did you feel less beautiful? Did you feel like, oh, maybe my partner wouldn't look at me the same? What was that transition like for you?
See, I don't have those issues. I don't have like, you know, no, like I think, you know, it's also upbringing. My father always told me I'm, you know, you're great, you know, you're amazing, you're who you are. And I've never kind of, my outward is not me. It's kind of who I am inside. So I had a good base, you know, for coming into this career that I have, right? So I had the baby, and all I could think, because I had a cesarean, second baby was a cesarean, and it was like, what is that fold? And this is the first time I've been like, you're kidding me. Like, that's not my body, you know? And the circumstances around my cesarean are a little bit crazy. You know, people were like, oh, Habida, you know, wanted her child to be...
Wanted to snap back faster.
No, like, what? No, wanted her child not to be Kenyan, so she went to have her baby in Cape Town. I'm like, why would I...
To push. And then on top of that, another country, because...
Like, how shallow do these
It's so
people...
convenient to just...
You know, and I actually wanted to come home to have the baby. But, you know, in Cape Town, they're like, oh, no, it's going to make your... I don't know if I could say this on whatever, but, you know, it's going to make you, when you're older, your vagina won't be able to hold pee in and what. So their reason for having cesareans is I was the only one trying to push in the hospital. And I think, you know, people lie to you about the recovery process. So emotionally, I think I went through a mini depression where I was like, there's a big cut there and it's folding over, you know? And I was like, okay, there has to be a reason for this. So now I'm creating a jeans line that kind of holds in our skin that kind of hangs over.
That's really cool.
Right? So it's like, okay, God has a purpose for every drama.
And what I love about that is, because I love new products and new businesses, but just there's so many things that are not created for women or by women. And so that's what's really cool is that you're seeing a need and that you're actually trying to think of like something that you can lay a solution to it. Yeah, that's fantastic.
Because we've got issues.
I know.
And we function through them.
And we function through them.
We're good doing it.
Yeah. Did you have, I mean, that's, and I know cesarean, that's just a whole other crazy, but I don't know whether you felt any issues sort of like post-birth and how you felt about yourself.
I feel like myself physically, I was fine. There's nothing to snap back to, right? Fat girl. I looked like me after I'd get ready. You know, okay, the worst thing I did right after I had a cesarean, worst thing I did was look in the mirror. Don't do it, okay? Then you notice that everything moved down an inch. And I mean everything.
God help us.
But luckily, it all just kind of, you know? And the thing that...
Habida's gonna choke.
I don't know how else to say it. Just,
Anyway.
For me, what stayed was mentally. It wasn't really physically my physical body. So I realized that even the physical battles I was fighting about my body were all in my head. So because I went through a lot of postpartum, like I've never had the biggest boobs.
The worst.
Yeah.
It's the worst,
But then the problem was I couldn't breastfeed. So my boobs just became another thing I was insecure about. And then I felt like I wasn't healing as fast as I wanted to heal. And like you said, CS, they don't tell you the healing process. And the numbing. You know that weird numb area that everyone has?
That's still numb?
Yeah, to date.
I didn't know about that.
Like, you can punch me and I'd be like...
Because you're a soldier. I just like, I'm just going to retreat.
Pros and cons to the different...
So, like, it was more mental. So I started associating my body with things I couldn't do for my baby. So I started hating my body for that. And then once I saw her thriving and, you know, she would get to a milestone and I'm like, oh my God, I kept her alive.
But can I ask you, like, how did you get through? Like, for me, I'll be honest and say I literally dived into, like, self-help books and T.D. Jakes and you know, like, oh my God.
Just to encourage yourself and to get out of that.
Yeah, because, you know, men don't get it. My husband's like, but honey, you're so beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm like, shut up. I'm like, who asked you?
Yeah.
And he's like, I thought I was helping, but okay.
I know. And it's like the poor poor guy, you know? But so what did you do?
I had to just get out of the funk. Because, the truth is, I did all the natural mama. I wanted a natural birth. I had a playlist. I had a birth plan.
Yeah.
One of those where every Kenyan guy that looks at you and you're like, what? It's like, it's a birth plan. It's my ideal.
Print one off Mom's Village.
Yeah.
We have downloadable birth plans.
Exactly. Like, I had it.
It's good
ready.
to have a backup. So that's, I think I'm maybe one of the few people who didn't have a birth plan, a plan anything.
I had a spreadsheet with color-coded and the songs I want to hear. When I'm in the midst of pushing, I want a Beyonce power anthem to get me in that space. Like, I was ready. And then nothing happened like I'd planned for it to happen. So afterwards, I don't think I recovered. I think I went into a funk and I didn't want people around me. And I shut myself in, and I felt like even leaving her was a problem. Like, every time I went to pee, I felt guilty. Stupid things like that, that right now seem so, insane. And then I felt like I wasn't feeding. They say, the other thing I wish people would talk about more, they say postpartum depression, the stories you hear is of women who, kill their children, and it becomes that extreme. But the truth is, postpartum can be anything. Like, for me, I didn't feel like killing my child. What I felt like was not being around her would kill her. Like, without her, without me, she would die.
You can't,
And then I couldn't give her the milk she needed, so I was like, I'm already starting the process of killing her. And you couldn't convince me otherwise. So for me, it was really hard. I just shut myself in. And then what helped was when I traveled to see my sister for her wedding in Canada. And when we went, I went with, the women in your life, you don't realize how much you need them. So I went with my cousin, and my sister was there, and my mom, and we all lived in the same place. That, if I hadn't done that, I honestly feel like I wouldn't be where I am today.
Yeah. Okay. Just having that support.
Yes.
And I always tell people, whenever people come to me, I love this, sometimes people are like, give me tips. I'm like, because I've been a mother for all my life. But okay. But I'm always talking about support systems, even if it's one person, either that friend or that cousin or that partner or your mom, whoever it is. I just don't think we need to do these things alone. So I'm always telling people,
our mothers, that's how they survive.
Thank you.
Like, I remember a drama, any drama that happened, I'd be like, yo, it's like the cavalry came in. I was like, they were like, what's up? And everyone dealt with everyone else's problems together.
Yes.
You reminded me when I struggled with milk supply, and a cousin who had kids a year ahead of me. And she'd gone through it, and she would tell me about it, but I didn't get it until I was in it, So she was come over, she was like helping me through it, and she's like, "Don't worry, one day," because I had that whole fear of like the health, recovering, birth weight and all of that. She's like, one day she'll just be playing in your shoes. You know what I mean? Like, she'll be in your heels.
That's
and
nice.
And it made me, I was like, oh my, I was so emotional. And then the day that happened, I took the picture and I sent it to her. I was like, yes, we made
That's amazing. I love that little statement. One day she'll play in your shoes. You just need to hear that one thing that changes everything
she's like,
around.
Don't worry, you'll just, she's like, it's terrible right now, but
it'll get past it. And I feel like a community of women, because I have a very supportive husband. He's such an amazing partner. I wouldn't raise my child with anyone else. I've gotten to that place of like actually believing that without a doubt. But women support you more than you'll ever know when you are most vulnerable as a woman.
I think we need to tell more women that.
For sure.
I know everyone has different circumstances, but this thing for you have a baby, your life is over.
It's not.
And so it's for me, it's I love hearing women say, I went back. It may not have been easy just trying to mix all that up, but still I went back and I was intentional about, putting myself out there. People need to hear that more.
Most definitely. And I feel like the other thing is, even if you feel nervous and you feel scared, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
That's a fire burning, because for me, I was afraid that first I was younger, I was cooler in my group, and none of my friends had babies, none of my friends were married, so I felt like I couldn't even relate to the people I was talking to anymore on radio. Now I'm a mom, and that mom thing, it feels like now I'm the old lady in the room.
Let me sit you down and advise you, that kind of thing. No, but that's really good to hear. And I know later I'd love to get your pieces of advice to other women. But before we do that, I think there's some incredible piece of advice from this coaching expert that Isis can tell us about.
So Nyangweso is an image consultant, and she's somebody that, so we have a large community of Mom's Village audience, and, to our website, we have WhatsApp communities and social media communities. And one of the questions that's been coming up, particularly sometimes we have different groups. There's like a job alerts group, and one of them, users are asking about image consultants and people to help them, both from a career perspective, but we thought it'd be interesting to actually hear from an expert. And so we have a short clip here of some suggestions she has from a body perspective for everyone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Body image is the picture that we have of ourselves. It's our appearance. It's the visible or exterior look of a person or a thing. what we call image. And so today we discuss everything about our body image, how to make it wonderful, how to feel good about ourselves, and how to express and show how beautiful we are on the outward. Where do I start in terms of feeling confident about myself? The first place is looking at yourself in the mirror. I usually tell women, men, take your clothes off, stand in front of the mirror, and begin to appreciate who you are. Every part of you. Each one of us was created fearfully and wonderfully. We're beautiful. But the world has taken a different stand and given us ideas of beauty that may not necessarily be who and what we were created to be. So for me, I usually say, take a self-audit. Look at yourself, look at the things that you like, the things that you feel may need to be changed, and appreciate all of it. It may take having a pen and a paper to write it down and say, I like my face, I think that I'm intelligent, just the different things. Once we do that, then we can begin to have what we call positive self-talk. This is where you tell yourself how wonderful you are. If we wait for the world to tell us how great and how beautiful and how wonderful and how we fit this and fit that, usually it never happens. And so you are your best cheerleader, you're your best encourager, you're your best number one fan. So be your own fan. Tell yourself how wonderful you are. The more positive things we tell ourselves, the more positive our life can become. Oftentimes we wonder about what we should wear for our body, and I do say that different body shapes have different styles that make them look better. Now, you can choose to wear anything, but ultimately when you dress in the morning, you want to look your best. So you want to bring out the features about you that are most exciting and then camouflage the ones that you don't really like. So I wouldn't encourage somebody and actually I wouldn't encourage anybody to be in something that's too short, too tight, or too revealing. What we wear is usually a reflection of what's going on inside. If in doubt, I'd say do without. If you're looking and thinking, is this too? Then it probably is. You want to put that aside. Many people struggle with body issues. One of the things I do say is it's important for us to learn to give compliments and to receive compliments. Many times you'll tell a woman on the street, oh, your hair looks wonderful. And she'll be like, oh, no, oh, I don't know. Or you tell her that she looks lovely or her shoes are great. And she'll be like, oh, these are not even mine. And you're like, just say thank you. For us, it's important to learn to say thank you and to learn to take compliments and then to also give compliments. As children grow up, it's important for us as parents and as caregivers to show them love. Girls in particular, if you have a girl child, if you're a single mom and you have a girl child, I say find people in your world. I know we don't have the concept of uncles anymore, but find a good uncle, whether it's in the church, a brother, somebody that you can trust to speak positivity into your daughter's life. Because without the balance of the male and female encouragement into their life, when they're older, they will begin to look for that love in other quarters.
There's some really interesting advice and tips from there. So I just want to thank all viewers for asking these questions. So we found the expert to answer them, and certainly please keep asking questions during the show. Any comments around this topic? So
and then Habida, you'd mentioned earlier that you're doing this docu-series, if I can call it that. She's like
reality
show. So it's really exciting. We do have a clip, so let's also take a look at that.
I'm a singer. I'm an actress. I am a businesswoman. I'm a wife. I am a mother. I'm a superwoman. Welcome to I Am.
Wow, that's powerful. That's really powerful. So
I like that side of you.
I know you find out that I'm not this very serious chick, right? Yeah. But you see, the thing is, it's important. I wanted people to see that I've done my part as a mom, wife, blah, blah, blah. And actually, people used to say to me, oh my gosh, is Habida, are you taking this singing thing seriously? It's like, no, I had chosen to give my life to my family. Mm-hmm. And now that I've done that, you know, my husband's career has gotten to the place where I'm like, okay, you're there. Yeah. And you know, men never feel like they're there. So I'm like, dude, I promise you, you are there. Yeah. And even if you're not, okay, time has run out. Yeah. It's run out. It's been 7 years. So like now we're focusing on the mommy.
Yeah.
The woman, not the mommy actually. Sorry.
Yeah, that's also important, is trying to strike that. I think that's one of the reasons I may have stepped out of mainstream media for a while, was just like, at this point, I just don't know how to stretch myself.
For me, sometimes I don't feel like I'm actually doing anything correct. Everything is falling through. And then I remember the one that really, it just killed me. I remember posting about it and getting so much encouragement from social media, was I came home one day, such a long day, and my nanny tells me she's walking. In fact, she's running everywhere. And I was like, I missed it, and I felt so much guilt about it. So the next day I canceled all my plans, and I was just sitting there like, walk, and she wouldn't walk.
She's just looking at you.
Like,
I had this similar. I was actually. It happened right outside my bedroom door. I was like, I'd taken. My mom was visiting, and she was about to travel like that night. And I was like, I'd taken a nap, and then I was like checking my phone or something, and then there was all this. And I jumped out the door, he's walking. I mean, so it was like, I didn't see the first step, but I guess I saw the fifth one, you know, and I was just like, why did I get up faster?
You know what I was told? You know what I was told? As the mother, the one you see, that's the first step.
Yes, I know.
Nobody else's counts.
That's a good, whatever works,
Nobody
that's a
else's
good
counts.
one.
So like, mom guilt is real, especially trying to get back to your life. Oh, mom guilt. But just pick and choose what you don't care about. And then I had to tell myself, you know what? I'd rather my daughter grow up knowing that work is important. And making time for yourself is important. And I want you to see that mommy's healthy, mommy's happy, mommy's trying to be successful, and that's what I want for you. As opposed to me just like smothering her.
It's important to understand that there's seasons, you know?
Yeah.
So like, even when I took time off to be with my daughter, it was my season to feed into her and kind of take care of her. And then I realized, okay, now that she's getting into a certain age, she needs to see mommy working. Because I don't want her to think, because she's like, mommy, daddy works. And I was like, oh, hell. I was like, no, child. No, you didn't. I'm like, really back? Because I don't want her to be like looking for some dude to take care of her. I want her to be independent. And for my son, you know, I kind of speak to my husband, and I'm like, you have to show him that it's a teamwork, and how you treat a woman and all this other stuff. And yes, you work, but you also spend time at home. Don't make him think that he has to be some workaholic, because my husband's a workaholic, you know, and he's always gone, you know. So I'm like, now, you know, there's a season for everything. And also to give yourself, you know, be kind to yourself is so important.
But I think everyone battles their own thing. Like for me, I get a lot of, you know, you have a pretty face if you could. And they'll let me fill out the, you know, and then like, you know, you could probably easily get into TV if, you know, it's one of those. So you just have to decide. I don't want my daughter to have to go through these things. Unfortunately, I know the world will do it for me, whether I protect her or not. So it's just a thing I have to decide. Because, you know, one of my, it's stupid. I fear that kids will make fun. You know, like how when you get dropped to school and your mom, my mom was just the most, right? She dropped me in like a leso, and I'm in a white school. I love you. So people are like, why your mom dressed like that? So, you know? Yeah. So like, I'm afraid of those days where I'll drop my kid to school and be like, your mom's fat. And then she's, you know, kids go through that mean phase, you know? And I want to prepare her to know that people are different. And you have to make your kids aware of people around them. So that, yes, people are different, but everything about people is beautiful.
And moms need to understand, they need to teach their children how to just love others too. You know, stop this bully stuff. I hate it.
It's so nasty. Oh my goodness, I feel like we could speak to you guys the whole day. We really want to thank you. First of all, you two are hilarious. Habida and Lynda are hilarious. But you're also real, and I love that. So thank you so much for coming on and just sharing your wisdom. A little away.
So, you know, we're wrapping up the show, but want, you know, to encourage viewers to stay on, because we have the Watch to Win segment. So that means like right after this, there's going to be a little competition, and people get to win Delia's ice cream and cake from Kilimani Bakery. So be sure to stick around and get to taste what we've been enjoying this whole time.
Exactly. But thank you so much for watching the Moms Village show. Have a good one, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Hey villagers, I'm Bernice, and it's that time of the day where we have our Watch to Win segment. Today, we have 4 giveaways lined up for you. From Brown's Food Company, we've got 2 hampers of Delius ice cream. Yes, the ones you saw being eaten on the show. For a chance to win this awesome prize, try to guess the flavors included in the hamper. The 2 closest answers will win you this wonderful Delius hamper. Next up, we have 2 creamy, freshly baked cakes to give away from Kilimani Bakeries. Yummy! To win, nominate a friend who you think deserves to be treated to a delicious cake and tell us why. The 2 tags with the most likes wins. Good luck and congratulations to the winners. See you next time on the Moms Village Show.